What's up, everybody? It is 90 degrees out here in hot and humid New York City. It is your boy Renee coming to you live from New York City. What's up, everybody?
I'm gonna come.
Hey!
Wow. 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 Wow.
What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. Oh, yeah, baby, it's Friday. Let's get it. Hey, it's Friday. It's Friday. Take your clothes off. Go naked. Go crazy. Do something. I don't know. Don't show me. Whatever. I don't care. What's up, everybody? Scorched in the house. What's going on, Scorched? Nice to see you here. Happy Friday, everybody. It is your boy, Renee, here on this lovely, sweltering hot Friday. It is so hot. I am already sweating. I feel my back all wet. Wet. What's up, y'all? Always happy to be here on a Friday with all of you. I hope you all had a wonderful week, and I hope you all are enjoying your day and are looking forward to a wonderful weekend up ahead. Today, we are going to be talking about several different things. Going to be talking about the newest movie from M. Night Shyamalan, Trap. It's a trap. Is it a trap? I'll give you my thoughts about it. I checked out the first 3 episodes of that brand new Batman animated show on Amazon Prime called Crusader. I didn't have a chance to finish the whole season. The whole season is available to stream immediately, but I checked out the first 3 episodes to see if it passed my 3-episode test. Does Batman Crusader pass my 3-episode test? I will let you know about that this morning, too. Got some news items to also talk about real quick before all of that stuff. And I figured after I talk about Trap, I will rank the M. Night Shyamalan movies that I've seen, and let's determine what's the best out of the bunch. So it's going to be a fun Friday for everybody. So let me know all your thoughts about M. Night Shyamalan in the chat here. Would love to hear all your thoughts. Scorch has seen A Quiet Place. I'm assuming the new one, Quiet Place Day 1. What did you think about it? I enjoyed that movie, actually. I thought it was well done. I thought Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn was very good in that movie. I just love that whole universe. I love the universe that John Krasinski made. I really enjoy every iteration we've got so far. I do like the fact that now we kind of see how it all started in a major city instead of like suburban America and all that, even though it still takes place within the New York vicinity in the East Coast. But it's very interesting. Now, you know, if we were to move forward from here, if they were going to do more Quiet Place movies, I would love to see them go international. Like what happens in Europe, what happens in Asia, what happens, you know, in South America. Like I would love to see how they all reacted and how they faced these crazy alien creatures coming crash landing through, you know. So I'm very curious if they would ever go that route. And then it will be kind of cool to tie it all together with like a broadcast of, hey, this is how you kind of, you know, solve the whole situation. This is how you could kill them and all that stuff like that. So, and that's one great way to kind of tie things all together. And I think that would be like a lot of fun, to be honest with you. Ghostlight. I have not seen Ghostlight. I think I've heard about it, but it's not something that's been on my radar. So I don't know. What is that movie about? Scorched. And what did you think of Quiet Place? Let me know your thoughts. Would love to hear about them. Also, if anyone else has seen anything else, watched anything else this week, let me know. What did you watch? Or what are you planning to watch this weekend? On demand, premium on demand for the first time this week, you can now finally see Maxine. If you're interested in catching up with good old Maxine and all that, you can watch that on demand. And I believe there was one other movie that came out on demand this week. I guess A Quiet Place, right? That was the other one, right? So So yeah, so you could check that out. Now, Chris, chiming in from the vertical stream, are you saying hello to Brazil yourself, or are you saying hi? I'm from Brazil. Because if you are from Brazil, hello from New York. Scorchson said, I'm going to watch Maxine ASAP. That's right. Maxine is available on demand. I think as of today. Today was the first day it was released on demand. So that's something you could check out. Scorch also saying Quiet Place was okay. Ghostlight is much better. What is Ghostlight about? Give me your quick elevator pitch as to what Ghostlight is about. Because again, that is not a movie that's been on my radar at all. I'm just curious. Again, I hope everyone has had a wonderful week and having a good day so far. If you're watching live on the stream, make sure hit that like button. Would greatly appreciate it. It helps with the community. It helps with everyone, and it brings big smiles to everyone's faces. You know, so if you want to make someone's day much brighter, hit that like button and react. Hit that reaction button if you're having a wonderful Friday. It's a story about a construction worker who clearly has some stuff he's dealing with. Okay. Interesting. Is there any like star in it, or is it like an independent movie? Again, I don't know anything about it, so I'm just curious. Chris saying don't speak English. Well, that's okay, Chris. No worries. I'm glad you could at least say hi and tune in, and hopefully I can provide some sort of entertainment for you. Contentious relationship with his daughter. Interesting. Okay. Let me look this up real quick. I just want to see. Ghostlight. 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 I don't think I know anyone in this movie. It's directed by Kelly O'Sullivan. Interesting. I see. It was, I guess it's one of those festival films that kind of went around as of recently. So, interesting. All right, if I have a chance, I will check this out. It's an American film too, so I'm surprised I have not really heard about it. Again, it looks like to me like one of those like festival type of films. Because I could see like it was at South by Southwest, Miami Film Festival, Cleveland International Film Festival. So interesting. All right. Tearjerker vibe. Very well made. All right. If I have a chance, I will check it out. It does look interesting. It does look really interesting. Especially it's nice. It's always nice to take a break from your typical Hollywood film. You know, I'm always like a big guy. I love when it comes to like independent movies and all that. I'm such a huge fan of all that stuff. So appreciate you letting me know about that, Scorched. Real cool stuff. All right, let's talk about some news items that came across my purview during the week. Something that was announced today that I'm going to be very honest here. I was not even aware that these guys were still around, at least in a physical print form. For the longest time now, because of the internet, a lot of these magazines, especially a lot of these video game magazines that I grew up with, they've all either transferred officially 100% digital, or they just closed up shop and ceased to exist. So I do find it interesting that it was announced today that Game Informer has closed up shop ASAP. I believe they were owned by GameStop. And after, it was like the longest running magazine for video games that's been around, 33 years. I guess they were one of the last few remaining, or maybe the last one remaining. Because like I said, I'm surprised that they were actually still around. But they posted this on their social media today, and I found this to be very interesting. Final level farewell from Game Informer. After 33 thrilling years of bringing you the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. I should also mention that it looks like that this was actually put together by GameStop's PR person or social media person, because a lot of employees and staff were just told this morning that they were getting laid off and that everything was shutting down. So no one from the company was able to actually make an official announcement. So this was very well prepared in advance. It continues to say that from the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersive virtual realms, we've been honored to share this incredible journey with you, our loyal readers. While our presses may stop, the passion for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being part of our epic quest, and may your own gaming adventures never end. Game Informer. So, interesting stuff about Game Informer. What I will say about them is that, and I'm going to be dating myself here. So, I remember when I was a young lad back in the day. This was like back in the Nintendo, maybe going into the 16-bit era of Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all those things like that. There was a store called Funcoland. And Funcoland was a specialized video game retail store that it was one of the first ones to allow you to trade in your games for actual credit or cash. And I remember every time you would purchase something from them, they offered you a free subscription to Game Informer, which was actually pretty funny. I always called Game Informer as one of those magazines that most people had but never asked for, because it came free usually most of the time whenever you purchase something from Funcoland. And then eventually GameStop bought them when Funcoland eventually closed up shop, right? And they were, every time I think you signed up for some sort of membership or whatever, it came with a free subscription to Game Informer. The magazine itself was never fantastic. It was never revolutionary. It wasn't anything that stood out really, except for the fact, like I said, it was most of the time it was free for most people. It never really fully competed with the likes of Electronic Gaming Monthly or GameSpot. Those are like some of the higher tiered video game magazines of the time. And especially when you got other magazines like Polygon that came out much later on and all that. Of course, nothing ever compared to Nintendo Power at that time too, if you were like a big Nintendo fan. But I'll never forget that any given year, as a young gamer in my teens or whatever, I always had a subscription to Game Informer because, like I said, I always got it for free. And again, I was shocked to know that they were still around after all these years. But unfortunate to hear that they were closed down today, and more unfortunate that they were not given much of a warning. Just pretty much all staff was laid off this morning and everything closed up immediately. So RIP to, once again, a sign of the past, a sign of the times that, another publication bites the dust in Game Informer. So I don't know if anyone here has ever had a Game Informer subscription at one point in their lives, but I'm curious to hear if you have, and if you have any fond memories of the publication at all. I see T's in the house. What's going on, T? Nice to see you as always. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you had a great week. Scorch has been giving his ranking of M. Night Shyamalan movies. Number one, he has The Visit, 2 Servant. I guess that's not a movie. That's based on his TV show. 3 Split, 4 Knock at the Cabin, 5 Old, 6 Last, 7 Signs, 8 Lady in the Water, 9 The Village, 10 Unbreakable. Those are his top 10 M. Night Shyamalan. I will call them projects because, again, Servant I don't really count as a movie, but it is something that M. Night did do. So pretty good list. The Visit I've never seen, and I know people have recommended that movie to me numerous times. I just never had a chance to watch it. So I can't speak up on that. I'm actually shocked to see, at least for me personally, that Old is part of your top 10. But hey, everyone finds movies all different. It's all subjective and all that. Lady in the Water, I'm also surprised to see in your top 10. Because for me, that was a very unbearable movie to watch when it came out in the theater. I remember watching it in the theater when it first came out, and everyone in the audience pretty much was just like, oh, when is this movie going to end? It was just so bad for all of us at that time. T saying sad, like Bungie layoffs over 200 more people. Yep, I remember that. It's another piece of news that came out this week. I know there was some controversy about that too, because I heard the latest DLC for Destiny did really well, but I also read that these layoffs were planned at the beginning of the year, regardless of how well that DLC did. So the video game landscape, as far as industry is concerned, is really messed up right now. So a lot of sad news across the board. T saying Sixth Sense in their opinion is number one. I may agree with that, but again, we will see later on when I give my full ranking of all M. Night Shyamalan movies, and I'm ranking them based off of the movies that he's directed, not anything that he's just written or produced. So we'll talk all about that stuff. Other bit of news too, again, if you are a child like mine who grew up with a lot of these fond memories of such channels, Warner Brothers Discovery is shutting down another streaming service that may be close and dear to many people's hearts, and that is Boomerang. Warner Brothers Discovery shutting down Boomerang streaming service. Subscribers and some content from the classic cartoon platforms will move to Max. I think this is just a consolidation effort. Again, it doesn't make sense to me if Warner Brothers Discovery is focusing so much on Max as their main go-to streaming service, why they would have a lot of these one-off streaming services. And I'm surprised something like Boomerang was still around for this long. But it is kind of sad, though, when you think about it, because it is a name that is so well known, especially if you're a fan of Cartoon Network. And if you had cable at one point, if you ever wanted to watch like the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons or the old like Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny cartoons, Boomerang was like your go-to spot, because Cartoon Network started to slowly move into more modern stuff and anime-related content. And of course, you had your Adult Swim stuff. But if you wanted to watch the classics, Johnny Quest, all those things, Boomerang was your place to go to. And I remember just enjoying watching Boomerang from time to time. But their streaming service is officially closed down as of September 30th. So the streaming service will cease operations on September 30th, and its subscribers and some of its content will be folded into Max, WBD's flagship streaming platform. Boomerang's linear channel will continue to operate on cable and satellite providers, where it's in about 26 million homes. So that's good to know. So for the very few of you that still subscribe to cable and pay for cable, at least you could still have access to that channel. Boomerang subscribers received a message from the streamer notifying them of the shutdown, and that their subscriptions will be moved to Max's ad-free tier with no change to your subscription price until further notice. That represents a bargain for Boomerang subscribers who pay $6 a month for their service. That seems like a lot of money per month for that type of service. Max's ad-free plan costs $17 monthly. Max already carries some of the same programming as Boomerang, including classic Looney Tunes shorts, several Scooby-Doo series, Tom and Jerry, and the Flintstones. In its note to subscribers, Boomerang noted that some Boomerang content may not be available after the switch, but didn't specify what wouldn't be making the move. Mentioned that the cable channel launched back in 2000, expanding as part of what was the Cartoon Network at that time. We still have the Cartoon Network now, but it was such a different landscape back then. But the shuttering of Boomerang follows the kids streaming Noggin, which shut down earlier this year after a round of layoffs at parent company Paramount Global. So again, another platform closing up shop, but again, doesn't surprise me because it is part of an overall streaming service that could all be like under one umbrella, right? Which is like the Max platform. But again, a lot of fun memories about Boomerang back in the day. So, all right, let me quickly catch up on the chats. Scorch continued with his list. 11, Devil. 12, The Last Airbender. 13th, The Happening. Wow. Amazing. T, most people have either Unbreakable or Signs as number one. Become kind of trite to me after all these years. Signs I liked, according to T. Tell me if I should watch the Batman because he gotta go. I will say this: after watching the first 3 episodes, so what I always do with a new series is I give it the 3 episode test. If it hooks me in enough to continue watching the series after the 3rd episode, I will continue watching it. The great thing about this show so far, I will say, is that it reminds me very much of the classic 90s Batman animated series with an interesting twist. It looks and feels more like a Dick Tracy cartoon because it really takes place in what feels like the 40s, 50s type of era. You are looking at what looks like a lot of year one type of portrayals of these characters. They also, if you are a Batman loyalist and purist, they do take liberties with a lot of the villains and some of the characters here. For example, in the first episode, it centers around the Penguin, who happens to be female this time. In episode 2, it's a different take on Clayface. In episode 3, it's Catwoman, which is a little bit more of the Catwoman you're familiar with. But we also get introduced to Dr. Quinzel, who we all know eventually becomes Harley Quinn, who becomes Bruce's psychiatrist in this episode. So very interesting stuff. I will say it is intriguing enough that I will continue to watch this show because I want to see what other episodes, what they dive into. It also feels very much like an origin series so far, or an origin season when it comes to a lot of these villains. But Batman is already established, but you could tell it's earlier Batman. He definitely does still do a lot of detective stuff. He kind of acts like a dick to Alfred, if I'm going to be very honest. But like I said, it intrigued me enough. Different type of noir type series. It is Bruce Timm. He's the guy who did the original Batman animated show. J.J. Abrams is also a producer, and Matt Reeves, who directs the new Batman movies, with Robert Pattinson, is also heavily involved in this. So, like I said, if you are open to seeing another version of Batman, which is a little different, it definitely still feels very Fleischer-esque. If you are familiar with the Fleischer Superman series from way back in the day, which a lot of people kind of compare the animated series in the 90s to. I feel like this feels a little bit more towards that. Because the characters themselves feel like they fit in a certain period of time back in that time. But like I said, they do take a lot of different takes on a lot of the people that you're familiar with. And if you're okay with that, then I would give this a shot. Like I said, it intrigued me enough that I want to see what they do for the rest of the season. And right now, it looks like every episode is going to be focusing on a specific villain, an introduction to a certain villain. Like I said, in episode 1, it's a female penguin. Instead of Oswald Cobblepot, it's Oswalda. I believe that's the name. She's also a cabaret singer. So they kind of take a spin as like, she's like a cabaret performer, but also happens to be a head of a crime syndicate. And what I like about the first episode is that it kind of gives you a breath of the crime syndicates within Gotham City at that time and kind of the power struggles there. We get introduced to Harvey Dent and Barbara Gordon, who Barbara Gordon in this show seems to be a criminal lawyer. So I thought that was a very interesting take there. Episode 2, we get introduced to Clayface and Renee Montoya. Renee Montoya is still a detective under Commissioner Gordon. And Clayface, there is a different take on Clayface there where still an actor, still involved with like Hollywood movies and films like that. But the way he became Clayface is very different. And then episode 3 talks more about Catwoman. In this case, she is like kind of like a daughter of a wealthy person who is jailed for tax fraud. And this person, and Catwoman, Selena Kyle, is now struggling with debt and she has no money. Right. So that's why she goes into cat burglary. She is very influenced by Batman. That's why she comes up with her costume and whatever stuff that she does. And you can still see that there is always going to be that kind of relationship between the two characters there. And we also, like I said, we get introduced to Dr. Quinzel, who happens to become Bruce's psychiatrist at this moment, And we get some nice flashbacks to Bruce's past. Instead of getting a full-on kind of origin story, this is how they kind of talk about what happened with his parents, which seems to be the same as we always see. So yeah, so I liked what I saw, to be honest with you. That's my pretty much recap there of Batman Caped Crusader. And I'm going to give the rest of the season a shot. So I will be able to probably watch it during the weekend. So hopefully I can have my full-on review of the whole entire first season. If there's going to be more seasons, I don't know. But I'll give my full review on everything on Monday. So yeah. So that, Scorch, since you asked for it, that is my review on Batman the Caped Crusader. And I forgot to put this on. But yeah, that's what I was talking about. Batman Caped Crusader. There you go. So I will mark that chapter down just so I could remember it later on. So yeah, so Scorch, let me know. Are you planning to watch it after I just said what I said? It looks like I may have thrown you off with the whole Penguin thing. Noir vibe, very noir, absolutely. And like I said, very reminiscent to the original animated series from the 90s, which I really, really liked. Awokin, sorry I didn't get to see your chat in the vertical stream. Nice to see you here. Thank you for chiming in. Anytime someone says they like my video and I've never seen them before, I'm getting ready for some sort of troll. So if you're gonna troll or do something, might as well get it out of the way now. That is just the nature of the beast. What about you, T? Is this series something you're looking forward to watching, or maybe you've already started? Let me know what you think. As I'm gathering the rest of my notes here on some of the other things that I'm planning to talk about today. But as well, I wait for them to chime in on all of this stuff. Let's go into other news that I've been interested to talk about that kind of dropped this week. One that really stands out to me is ever since now, it's been revealed and announced that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be coming back to the MCU as Dr. Doom. You knew it was going to happen eventually, that we were going to hear from Jonathan Majors, or someone was going to try to ask Jonathan Majors what he feels about the whole thing. And it sounds to me like Jonathan Majors is kind of heartbroken over it all. And that is basically what this article says. So I'm here on Dark Horizons talking about this Jonathan Majors news. With the announcement of Avengers Doomsday at Comic-Con, the news effectively sweeps aside the remnants of the previously planned Kang the Conqueror storyline. Just over a year ago, Marvel was invested in its plans for the villain whom Jonathan Majors had been playing across Loki and the third Ant-Man film. But then Majors was arrested for assault and Disney fired him after his conviction. Marvel had to either recast or change its plans, and no one was quite sure which option they would take until this past weekend, with Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom taking over. In a brief interview with TMZ, of course it's TMZ, they're the ones who, of course, will always go out there and find out how he would feel about all this stuff. Majors was asked about the news, saying he is heartbroken. Come on, of course, I love Kang. Dr. Doom is wicked, though. The Russo brothers return to direct the Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, which releases a year later, so it's assumed the productions will be shot pretty close together after filming on Avengers Doomsday Begins, blah, 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 all that stuff. Now, there was another article that I read that stated that Jonathan Majors was saying that, he said something along the lines like, I hope to one day return as Kang if I'm given the chance. I'm curious, how many of you think that there will ever be a time when Jonathan Majors can return to the MCU and reprise his role as Kang? He brings up people like Ezra Miller, who was given a second chance. He brought up Mel Gibson as someone who was given a second chance in Hollywood. So I wonder, honestly, if you ask me, I think Ezra Miller is pretty done at this point. It's going to be hard for them to come back and I think establish themselves back in Hollywood. But anything is possible. I mean, Mel Gibson is a good point. I mean, this is a guy that's been pretty much shunned from Hollywood because of his, the things that he said and his ways of handling certain phone conversations. So, you know, I don't know. I think eventually Jonathan Majors can make a comeback in Hollywood, but I don't know if he'll ever be able to come back in the MCU. I mean, look at what's happening with who is that? With Gina Carano. She's still moving forward with her lawsuit against Disney, and it looks like it is definitely going to go to court. So that's going to be very interesting when that really happens. But I don't think we'll ever see a time when Jonathan Majors comes back as Kang in the MCU. But I'm curious, what do you all think about that? Let me know. T says loves the Batman. Love it. Takes as an Elseworld type deal, which is basically is. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like reading a comic book, run. It's nice seeing a different version of the Batman in a different type of era, in a different type of setting, right? Even though it's still Gotham City, even though you're still dealing with certain names that are the same, it's just different takes on some of the characters. So, I mean, for what I saw, I'm liking it so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, So it'll be interesting to see how it goes on from there. T saying, if only if, after Secret Wars, once the reboot happens, in regards to Jonathan Majors coming back to the MCU. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm a huge fan of redemption arcs, and I would love to see Jonathan Majors, really show that he is atoning for all of his mistakes and all those things. And it would be nice for him to come back and come back strong in Hollywood. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, they were able to bring back James Gunn after initially getting rid of him, right? And but I don't know. That's one of the very few that I've seen Disney have come back or asked to come back and rehire after they let them go. So time will tell. Just like wounds, time heals all, right? Another interesting piece of news here that I thought was kind of silly and hilarious. Jamie Lee Curtis and Marvel, you could tell that maybe she's still hoping for a role in the MCU because she wants to play nice. Here's an article. Jamie Lee Curtis vows to do better after saying MCU was in a bad phase. The Oscar winner called her remarks in a Comic-Con interview stupid and said she'd reach out to Kevin Feige. I thought this was funny. Ryan Reynolds actually reposted this on Twix, and he said something along the lines like, oh, I didn't realize we have to apologize now for bashing on Disney and Marvel. But Jamie Lee Curtis has reached out to Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige and vowed to choose her words about the MCU more carefully. The Oscar winner went viral on X, formerly Twitter, this week after a Comic-Con interview with MTV, where she was asked to name what phase the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in at the moment, stating bad. She replied, bad. Curtis now issued an apology. On X, she wrote to fans that her comments about Marvel were stupid. She added, I will do better. I've reached out to Kevin Feige and will no longer play in that mudslinging sandbox of competition we call the internet. Nor will I engage in the toilet paper promotion or gameplay that is designed for clicks, not content. Deadpool and Wolverine, blah, 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 this and that. So here is Jamie Lee Curtis's post. My comments about Marvel were stupid and I will do better. I've reached out to Kevin Feige and will no longer play in the mudslinging, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. So I thought this was pretty hilarious because it screams, I want to be in Marvel and I want my options to be open. So I want to play nice with everybody. That's basically what this screams to me. Here's someone who is a working actress. She knows that if she has an opportunity to land a role in the MCU, that means a big paycheck for her, right? That's what every actor would love, is the major paycheck from a major studio. I mean, Harrison Ford is the more recent one now, understanding how that all works, despite him, boo-hooing about involvement in MCU. And Harrison Ford has no care or opinion about whatever happens in canon and Marvel Universe and all that. And I love seeing interviewers trying to ask him these specific questions and him just basically saying things just short of saying, I don't care. I'm here to act. That's my job. I'm here for a paycheck. The end. And Jamie Lee Curtis probably was hoping for a big payday too. So this screams as someone who is just hoping to play nice and doesn't want to wash away her chances at landing a big gig, like a Marvel gig. So I thought that was actually pretty funny. And sticking with Marvel, the last bit of news I wanted to talk about this morning too is in regards to some movie dates in 2027. This was released really like very shortly before I went live today. And Disney makes major play for 2027 movie calendar. The studio has newly dated 11 projects from its film slate for that year, including 2 untitled Marvel features. So from what it sounds like, they are really pushing forward with feature films, which is something that I was kind of guessing after their kind of presentation on San Diego Comic-Con. I think I said this on Monday, that I see them moving forward, putting more focus and emphasis on feature films versus Disney Plus series, which I still think, they're going to do, but I know that their main focus is trying to get the big dollars and people back in theaters watching their films with anticipation, right? So Disney's making a land grab for 2027 movie release dates. The studio announced a long list of official changes to its film release calendar on Friday, that's today, including the addition of 11 untitled projects for 2027. The only 2 features previously on the company's calendar were Avengers Secret Wars on May 27, 2027, and an untitled Star Wars movie for December 17, 2027. Among the projects with newly added release dates are an untitled Marvel film on July 23, 2027, and one on November 5th, 2027. Additionally, Disney has added an untitled Pixar feature for June 18, 2027, and an untitled Disney animation film for November 24, 2027. That's a lot of movies for one studio in 2027, especially for Disney. Also joining the calendar are untitled Disney films for August 8, 2025, September 12, 2025, February 12, 2027, March 5th, 2027, Marvel's April 2, 2027, May 28, 2027, August 6, 2027, September 17, 2027, and October 8, 2027, 2027, 2027. Say that 5 times as fast. Other newly announced tweaks for the company's forthcoming slate include Searchlight's A Real Pain, in which Jesse Eisenberg directs and also stars alongside Kieran Culkin. I'm actually looking forward to this movie. Moving to November 1st, 2024, after previously have been dated for October 18th. Additionally, an untitled Disney movie moves up a week to August 7th, 2026, with another one moves up a week to September 11, 2026. So a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. And I'm not gonna spend my time right now speculating on what those Marvel projects could be in 2027. Who knows? At this point, who knows? If you still got Avengers Secret Wars coming out on May 27th, right? So that means that these other Marvel films are coming out after that. So July and then November. So whatever is the result of what happens with those movies, I guess we'll see follow-ups, or who knows. So interesting play, not surprising. But it is interesting nonetheless that they are so hardcore on going forward with movies in the next couple of years. T saying, I mean, she wasn't wrong. It felt like it had to be been in a bad state, but smart to go back on for a chance. I don't know what role she could honestly play. I don't either. I don't either. Maybe she could play. No, that's not true. I was going to say, you know what? If we didn't already establish who Aunt May was in the Spider-Man universe, I said she could probably play a decent Aunt May. Who knows? I have no idea. No idea. But I think a lot of people have voiced their opinions about Marvel. Look, Deadpool and Wolverine, they joke about how bad Disney is with the Marvel stuff recently. So they are not shying away from at least calling themselves out on how bad their stuff is at the moment. So, good on her. But at the same time, too, yeah, as a working actress in Hollywood, you have to be kind of careful sometimes, because if you do want to land a big paycheck, you kind of have to play nice, right? So, teasing, Scorch, I'm looking forward to Agatha. I am too. But I am very curious as to why they're saying that this Agatha series is going to be like the Goonies. So that means it sounds to me like it might be very kiddie, like Skeleton Crew. So I don't know. I don't know how serious it's going to be or how serious they're going to take it. But it's going to be interesting to see. Teasing Madam Web. Oh, I could see Jamie Lee Curtis playing Madam Web. Yeah, like a more future Madam Web. If we ever want to see Madam Web again, I mean, I don't know if that's something that they want to go back and not well on. Especially with how many people have just poked fun at that movie. Deservingly so, too, but I still think, and this is just me, Madam Web is secretly a brilliantly done movie in a way. Especially if you're a fan of like those type of action films from the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. What's going on, Woni? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Chiming in on the vertical chat. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for chiming in. So yeah, so interesting stuff all around. So, Scorch, you're still here. So let me know, are you going to be watching the new Batman Caped Crusader series? I'm just looking forward to Daredevil, says T. I am too. I thought it was a kind of a missed opportunity for them to not divulge more information on Daredevil, or at least walk the cast up on stage at San Diego Comic-Con. But I also get it too. I get that they're focusing on feature films, so we'll probably get more information out of them on that at D23 later this year. What's going on, Level 17? What's the convo about? Well, I just went over some recent news. Marvel release dates in 2027. Some comments about Jamie Lee Curtis. Jonathan Majors crying about not being able to be Kang anymore. I also gave a brief initial thoughts on Batman Caped Crusader after watching the first 3 episodes on Amazon Prime. And in a little bit, I will be giving my review on M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie, Trap, which I had a chance to see yesterday. So a lot of things to talk about. And if you have any questions or you want to say anything, let us know in the chat. Always happy to have conversations with everyone here. Yeah, it is a lot. I just went on like a crazy tangent. Just like, okay, this, that, this, that. It's just one of those days. I guess this is what happens when you drink a lot of energy drinks. But yeah. Level 17. Have you had a chance to watch Trap yet? Or are you planning to? Let me know. And anyone else here in the chat. Level 17 saying, I'm not gonna lie, 2024 full of surprises, especially with these celebrities. Oh, that is truth right there. That is absolutely the truth. So many different surprises. So many different things happening. It's crazy. It's been quite a year. Quite a year. Level 17 saying, I'll give you an update in a few. Haven't watched it yet. Got it. Okay. No worries. Well, like I always do with every movie review, I always start off by not talking about anything spoiler. I will give my thoughts, my review, my Letterboxd score, and then because it's Shyamalan, I do have to talk about some spoilers. So I'll do that later on. So it's good to I engage with fans, of course. I'm not here. This won't work without you guys, and I do this because I love the conversation. I can spend my streams standing here. I mean, I'm not standing, sitting here yapping away till my heart's content, talking about movies and TV and pop culture and all those things. And I could just do this and not give a shit about what anyone has to say, right? But I do care about what you guys have to say because I love the conversation, So this doesn't work without all of you, So engagement is important. How about the new Deadpool movie? I talked about that movie in full detail last week. It is, and I'll just give you a quick recap of my thoughts about it. I thought it was fun, entertaining. It reminded me of how fun a Marvel movie can be. 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. However, I will say this: if you took out all the cameos, all the fanfare, all the little nods to the people who grew up watching a lot of these Marvel movies, if you took all of that stuff out, at the end of the day, it's not a great movie. It really isn't. But because of all those additional things and the action scenes, it made it just a fun movie, And if you can understand that, and if you're okay with that, it's a blast. I just saw it again for the second time yesterday. That's just how much fun it was for me. And after watching it a second time, I still loved it. And I love hearing the reactions from the audience because it's a lot of their first time seeing it, and it gets me excited to be in the theater hearing all that stuff. So I liked it. Level, how about you? Have you had a chance to see it yet? T with the gifted 5 memberships. Oh my goodness. T, you're nuts. Thank you so much. Oh wow. You're amazing, dude. Amazing. Thank you so much. So gifted memberships went to Tomi, Polytrend, George Leanne, Green Hippo, and Taki Dean. So if you are here watching live, please make sure to thank T for the gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Again, I truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Honestly, it really does. Level 17 saying true. I wouldn't say it's peak, but it's a good watch. Yeah. And that's the thing, at the end of the day, if you're having fun with it, then it's working for you, right? I mean, especially with a lot of the recent Marvel films that has come out, I would say that a lot of the recent Marvel films will have those moments of like, oh, this is cool. But then there are other times like Love and Thunder is one example where most of the movie was just like, oh my God, this is so corny. This is so painful. This is not funny. Like it was like, it's a shame because you don't want to go to a Marvel movie feeling that way. At least here, you felt the entertainment. You felt the fun, and that was, and it's great. It's great. Also, I'm not sure why. Hold on. I want to make sure that I give the proper alerts for this stuff to show up. But for some reason, it's not showing up. So I do apologize for that. Oh, I know why. I get it. My alerts are only set up for the traditional stream. So, sorry about that, T. But again, I announced it. And again, if you're any of those people I mentioned, make sure to give a huge thanks to T for the gifted memberships. T saying it's upsetting how they have done Thor. I know. They made him too comical. It was never supposed to be that way. But whose fault is that, though? Is that Taika Waititi's fault? I kind of put some blame on him on that. Level 17, I did watch it. It's not bad, but the hype around it, not as compared to the movie. I think the issue with Marvel is that they are forcing too much of something to make something that's not there. Yeah, the one criticism I've always had with Marvel, especially recently I would say after Endgame, is they're treating their movie division and TV division too much like the comic books. In the comic books, you are expected to see endless amounts of series and issues and storylines and plot lines. And if it's something you're into, you would buy these group of issues to, understand what storyline they're trying to tell, right? You would read this because, oh, I like this character and all. But you're not expected to know everything. But with the movies and the TV, that audience is so different. You can't expect everyone to watch everything. The minute you do that, the minute you start losing the audience. Because a lot of these people are more casual movie fans, right? But the minute you start forcing them, like, oh, you have to watch this show to understand this, you have to watch this show to understand that, and plus the shows aren't that entertaining, oof, that's when you really, really start shooting yourselves in the foot, you know? And one of the things I said after I saw their presentation from San Diego Comic-Con was I really would love them to stop introducing new characters. Just put a cap on it for now and just give us more of what we've already seen, you know? You've introduced so many people to us. Where is Shang-Chi, right? What's Wong doing right now? You heavily pushed Wong for so long. What is he up to? Nobody knows. What's happening to Vision, right? He's running around all white somewhere, right? Yes, we're getting an Agatha series later this year, and we're getting a Wonder Man series. Again, another new character, you know. But what's happening to, and I know we're getting Thunderbolts, so we're going to see a lot of those characters that we were introduced to in one thing. But let's focus on a lot of these things that we've already seen instead of introducing, and then where's it going to go after that? Yeah, so we'll see. Star-Lord's in the house. What's going on, Star-Lord? Nice to always see you back. You got a new profile picture. Level 17 saying new characters with poor storyline with no proper foundation that support any sequel. I don't disagree. It makes fans distanced from what they expect. And I will also add this. And you negate a lot of things that have been established already within the universe. For example, Secret Invasion. You're telling us now that the Rhodey that we have known for so long, since what, Civil War or maybe even Winter Soldier, is not the Rhodey? So who the hell have we been rooting for this whole time, right? And you introduce us to who's supposedly now one of the most super-powered persons in the MCU. And she's like never to be seen again. Like, what is that about? You know? And then you also make one of the most beloved characters someone that's kind of like a throwaway at this point. And I'm talking about Nick Fury. Right? And then he was kind of like comic relief in the Marvels, right? So I'm just like, what's happening? What are you doing? Yeah. It's unfortunate because they've done so good for so long, and then to see it kind of fall apart. So I'm hoping that course correction, all this stuff can move forward and can fix things for them. But we'll see. I mean, I'm hopeful for Fantastic Four. I think that's going to really make a difference. I'm hopeful for eventually when they do an X-Men movie, right? RDJ back as Doctor Doom is intriguing. If he is truly Doom himself, I'm going to be a little disappointed, but I think he's a variant. So I think if they explain that well, that could be cool, but I guess we'll see. Starlight saying, I woke up from a bad dream, so I decided not to go back to sleep. What was your dream? Do you remember, Starlord, what it was? 17 saying they are forcing too much and not taking the time out to introduce things properly. Yeah. It almost feels like, you know, they had such a proper plan for the initial Thanos phases. And then after that, they kind of just were throwing things on the wall to see what stuck. Maybe they had a plan, but the plan didn't feel, you know, fully fleshed out. And I think that's when you kind of saw that. And like T says, plot holes. That's when you really see that I think Kevin Feige lost touch or lost control for a certain time. And I'm pretty sure someone sat down with him, probably Bob Iger, is just like, hey, you need to knock all this shit out. Let's get back on the ball here, right? Let's work on things. Started saying, yeah, but I rather not go into deep. Ooh, that sounds like it's a very bad dream, Star-Lord. I'm sorry. I hate dreams like that. Well, hopefully you could kind of forget it now. Jester's back. What's up, Jester? Always a pleasure to see you. Hope you're having a great day so far. T, interested in how powerful they plan to do Doom and how he gets to that point. Yeah, I mean, again, if they do the whole RDJ as Doom as a variant, the one thing I always said was that, Doom is synonymous for, he's known for having a lot of Doom bots and clones, right? So I feel like the revelation of who the main Doom is probably won't happen until maybe Secret Wars or right before that. So it will be interesting to see how they explain all that, if that's the route they're going. Again, we're just speculating at this point. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Doom is a great villain. One of probably Marvel's best villains. And a villain that should last for multiple phases. I don't want this guy to be like a one and done thing. Like, Doom should be a long lasting villain all throughout. So 17, if you're still there, I'm curious what you think about the whole RDJ announcement as Doom. Jester's having a great day. That's good to know. Finally saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Jester, what are your thoughts? Without spoiling too much. Star-Lord, I've been a little under the weather lately yet again. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Always sucks, especially now, to be kind of sick during like such hot weather. That's like the worst. So I hope you feel better soon, man. Jester, so you just saw Deadpool and Wolverine. I saw it for the second time yesterday, and it's still as good as the first time I saw it. So, level 17, I'm gonna head out though. Be safe, keep the grind up. Even now, I haven't watched Eternals. Oh wow, really? Oh, I kind of don't blame you. Although, for me personally, I loved Eternals. I thought Eternals was good, but I feel like it's a waste now, knowing that they're probably never gonna go back to those group of characters. But I appreciate you for joining the stream, and hopefully I get to see you again. Jester loved Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's go. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Love to hear it, man. All right. Before I go into my review on Trap, I just want to make sure that the world is not blowing up outside. Checking my phone. Okay, everything seems to be good. Good so far. La da da dun 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 dun. Hey yo. T saying, I see Secret Wars and just keep thinking God Emperor Doom. That's on some serious power level, but Marvel loves to nerf down characters, especially their villains. Especially their villains. With the exception of maybe Thanos. I thought Thanos they handled pretty well, as best as I think they could. You felt it. You felt his impact. With Doom, it has to be that level. But as we know, we had years and years of buildup of Thanos. Are we going to get the same thing with Doom? I'm hoping we do. Because Doom is a very, very important villain. One that sticks around for a while in the MCU. So I really do hope they give him his proper due. T says, I think greater. I won't argue with that. I won't argue with that. Level 17. Also, as it relates to RDJ, it's a gamble. I think that's a nice way to put it. That's a very nice way to put it. It is a gamble. It's a risk. It's a giant risk. And man, the discourse I saw from people when the announcement was made was insane. Known for one thing, which is a major role in Marvel, so we can't just hope he'll carry the role well. True. But I will say this. On one speculative side, and I said this on Monday when I talked about the announcement, imagine in the movies the reaction of like a Peter Parker seeing his mentor, seeing his role model, his icon, portrayed as a bad guy for the first time, how would he react? Everyone else who loves Tony Stark, right? Pepper Potts, if they ever bring her back, Happy Hogan, right? And the rest of the crew, how will they react seeing somebody that sacrificed themselves to save the world now is the bad guy, right? It will be kind of cool story-wise to see how that reaction will play out. If done well, if written well, done well, it'll be really interesting to see all that. But I guess time will tell. We'll find out when Doomsday finally comes out. So Jester, if you're still here, let us know from Deadpool and Wolverine, if you can without spoiling it, what's your favorite part? Or what are some of your favorite parts of that movie? Again, I'm just waiting for the chats to come in. And again, I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. If you're watching live, don't forget, hit that like button. Would greatly appreciate it. Everyone here would greatly appreciate it. That was your favorite part, T? It's funny watching it again last night. That whole reveal was just so funny to me. It really was, and oh man. It's amazing that we live in a time where we can get something like that. That's so part of, I guess you could say it's part of the lore of Marvel existence, right? When something like that was so part of the news, so part of the rumor mill, right? It's amazing. Star saying the TVA can show Doom on a giant monitor what he was like as the Iron Man variant. By the way, I will have to say at my showing of Deadpool and Wolverine last night, once again, the moment that got the biggest pop from the audience was the big reveal of a certain Day Hunter. A major call to Loki or callback. That would be interesting. Doom has got to go after GOS Loki. What's going on, Tiny Gucci? Hope you're doing well. Oh no, my legendary got deleted in Pokemon. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How did that happen? Do you know? He's saying he did in the comics. Which storyline was that, T? Again, you have to excuse me. Like anything more recent comic book wise, I'm so out of the loop. So I do apologize. Tiny Gucci said, I have to do a second save to get it back. Oof. Well, hopefully you can recover things without any other problems. That really sucks. All right. As I'm waiting for some of the chats to come in, why don't I get myself ready? And we're going to be talking about Trap. Again, M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie, Trap, is in theaters this week. Obviously, when the trailers came out, there was a lot of great speculation as to what's really happening here. Is Josh Hartnett, is he really the killer? Is there something else going on? If you don't know the premise, the whole premise of this movie is you have a concert that's being set up as a trap to capture a serial killer within the area. Josh Hartnett is there with his daughter attending said concert. And from what the trailer shows, is more than likely that Josh Hartnett is that said serial killer that is on the run and looking for ways to avoid this trap, this elaborate trap that's being set up for him. Outside of Josh Hartnett, it stars Alison Pill, who I always confuse with who's that other actress that had that show? She was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I always confuse her with that actress, which is kind of funny. Kid Cudi has a guest appearance in this one. Ariel Donahue plays Riley, the daughter of Josh Hartnett. You also have Salika Shyamalan, who is the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, as the pop singer, right? So you have all those people in this movie. And it's not a long movie, which is good, I think, for a movie like this. I'll say this. All the things that you speculated about this movie, don't even bother with all those things. All right. I feel like this is one of M. Night Shyamalan's this is one of his most straightforward movies that he's done. So everything that you saw in the trailer is basically what's really happening. I'll say that. There are certain things that happen here and there that throw you for a loop, right? But I think the overall interesting plot point here is how is said person going to escape? And two, what happens when all of that is in the process, right? I think that's really like the big mystery here, right? And overall, I thought Josh Hartnett was a very good, did a very good performance in this. His character is very creepy, very, I want to say, very cunning, and very awkward and strange. Kind of what you would expect from like a serial killer and all that. But there's something that about this movie where I felt like it felt very hokey in a way. Like a lot of the acting felt a little bit over the top. I felt like some of the dialogue was a little bit off in a way. I think the real trap here is M. Night Shyamalan falling into the whole nepotism trap, having his daughter in his own movie. It makes me wonder, because I remember he said something along the lines that the premise for this was, imagine Silence of the Lambs happening at a Taylor Swift concert. Maybe it would have been better if he actually casted Taylor Swift in this movie, or another actual pop star who is an actor. Maybe get a Justin Timberlake in this, or maybe get a Lady Gaga in this. Because I'll say this, Salika cannot act. Her acting was very poor, in my opinion, in this. And there were a lot of moments where she was so like a main focus at certain points. And it was just not believable at all to me. And maybe, I'm sure this was not the overall effect, but I found myself laughing a lot through many different moments in this film. Laughing mostly because it felt so far-fetched what I was seeing. And kind of like, really? We're doing this? I said that to myself quite a lot. And I remember there was someone in the audience last night who kept yawning out loud when the movie was going on. Because there were moments in this movie that felt slow. And I felt like it really fell apart in the third act. Like that's when all the craziness really happened in the third act. When it comes to your typical Shyamalan twists, nothing to really... What I said in my Letterboxd review was that there are a couple of twists that happen here, but nothing that's worth spending a couple of hours going on a YouTube rabbit hole trying to figure out. It's very straightforward, like I said, very straightforward. And in a way, it felt kind of bland and just mediocre, which is a shame because, again, Josh Hartnett's performance was really good, I thought. I think he did the best he could with the material that he was given and the platform that he was given, the project that he was given. It's also kind of hard to believe that this was his first leading role since 30 Days of Night, which came out, in 2007 or something like that? I think he deserves more roles, in my opinion. Especially, you saw how he performed in Oppenheimer, which which I thought he did a great job in. And he does a really good job here. It's just the movie itself is not that great. It's just really, really unfortunate in my opinion. Um, and another thing that I did like, a positive, I will say, is the typical M. Night Shyamalan cinematography is very good in this. It's what you would expect filmmaking wise as far as like his movies. But everything else about the movie fell apart to me, in my opinion. So overall, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I didn't heart it. I don't think this is a movie I'll ever go back to visit, unless I wanted to do like a bad movie night or something, or just watch with my friends or something like that. Or maybe I'll wait 5 to 10 years and revisit it to see how I feel about it afterwards. But I do feel like this is one of his weaker films in his filmography, which kind of sucks because he was kind of like on a little roll, in my opinion. Like I really actually enjoyed Knock at the Cabin. I thought that was very unique. And I kind of love the whole play on the apocalypse and kind of that type of storytelling and that type of like kind of play on like biblical stuff that happens. Old wasn't really for me. And then I forgot what else he came out with before all that. But we'll go through. Oh, Split, I loved. Glass, I thought was okay. Wasn't that bad. But yeah, I think a part of me was really hoping that this was going to tie into something, but it didn't. It felt more like one of those like weird anthology series. Like this felt more like a Netflix Dark Mirror episode or something like that than an actual movie. So a little disappointing, but I know there are people out there who love this movie, and good for them. But for me, there was a lot of issues that really stood out, really, really stood out. And it makes me wonder, what would have happened if they actually casted an actual pop star who can act in this movie? Would it have made it better? Maybe. But yeah, that's just my initial thoughts on it before I go into some spoiler stuff, if you guys really want to hear that stuff. So the whole concert is a trap. Oh, T saying Loki Agents of Asgard. Yeah, that is a storyline I never read, but I heard a lot of good things about that storyline. So T saying, damn, it already sounds disappointing. Yeah, well, that's just me again. I mean, if you're interested, I always recommend you check it out for yourself first to find out. But for me, that's just how I feel about it. Starler saying, don't worry, Trap 2 will have a mosh pit. CIA is trying to assassinate a killer Swiftie. T saying 30 Days was great I love 30 Days a Night. I thought that is a very underrated movie. Not a lot of people talk about that movie. And I agree, the comic was also very well done too. Tiny Gucci, sorry, going back to the vertical stream, I'm going to speed run it. Well, I wish you luck, Tiny G. I hope that you can get what you need to get back. Level 17 is back. How about Gran Turismo? I think that's what the title is called. Are you talking about the movie Gran Turismo? Let me know what you're referring to. Obviously, I know the video game Gran Turismo, but I'm wondering if you meant the movie that came out. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I don't know. I forget what year we're in sometimes. He's saying M. Night has a whole marathon going on right now on HBO. Are you serious? Really? What movie is currently being shown right now? I'm just very curious. Because he has a lot of movies under his belt at this point in his career. And not a lot of them are great. But there are definitely like some underrated movies in his filmography that deserve more attention. Unbreakable. Very nice. Very, very nice. With Signs next. Wait, is that in order? I wonder if that's chronological order as of release date. I'm testing my film knowledge at this point. Yes. Unbreakable did come out before Signs, right? Because you had Sixth Sense. Then after Sixth Sense, he came out with Unbreakable and then Signs. And then Lady in the Water, I think. No. The Village and then Lady in the Water. Wish they did that for Stephen King. That's a lot of movies if they were to do that. But those are fun. I like whenever like channels do like these like special movie marathons. Also, as a reminder again, please don't forget, hit that like button if you're watching live on any of the streams. Would greatly appreciate it. But he would have to make a new movie. Would you include, if we're going Stephen King, would you include like movies that he's acted into, or just, you know, movies that are based on his books? Because if it was like movies he acted in, you could easily include the Creep Show movie, right? Because he was in, I believe, the first Creep Show. Was it the first or second one? And then didn't he play like a pharmacist or something in It? Was it It, or I forget which one. Everything. Just everything Stephen King. I wouldn't be mad at that. Need a better Dark Tower. Weren't they planning on doing another one? I thought I read somewhere that they were trying to do another, or they were trying to make it a series or something like that. I think Amazon was attached to it at one point, I think. Did anyone watch that series on Hulu? What was it called? Where it takes place in Derry, and it's like all the different Stephen King characters in one location or something like that. It had 2 seasons, and Bill Skarsgård was like the main being in it. And I actually liked that show quite a bit. And then the main actress, her character was supposed to be, I think, the daughter of the lady in Misery or something like that. He's saying I thought it was going to be a series. Started saying I like M. Night, but the King rules night and day. Well, I think it's also I also don't think it's a good comparison to say M. Night is like Stephen King. They're very different. I remember at one point a lot of people were saying that, oh, M. Night is like the new Alfred Hitchcock. But now the new Alfred Hitchcock is Jordan Peele. There's always going to be a new something, right? All right, I'm gonna ask all of you guys here watching now. Would you like me to go into quick spoilers on Trap, or would you prefer I don't? Let me know. Castle Rock, thank you. T, thank you. I love that show. I was kind of disappointed that they weren't going to come back after the second season. Started saying I just thought it was clever to say. T saying I'm fine with it. Okay. That's one vote for yes. Starlord I know is always is fine with spoilers. Right? As soon as he gives me the thumbs up, then we're going to go into some quick spoilers so I can talk about this real quick. Derry's supposed to get a series. I did read about that too, yeah. I wonder if that's going to explore more more of just the It universe? I wonder. Star saying spoilers? No. That all depends. All right, so the question to you, Star Lord, is will you be okay if I talk spoilers about Trap? And if not, I'll just save it for, I'll probably work it into a separate video outside of this stream. Let me know. Pennywise Mythos. That would be interesting. I think that would be interesting. Again, if written right and you have the right people in it, I think that could be interesting. But Castle Rock was, for me, was very interesting. It was just interesting to see like a series that kind of incorporated a lot of the Stephen King characters and lore in it, you know, and how they kind of all tied it together. I thought that was really fascinating how they did that. It has to be a movie or show that I really want to be in the universe immersed in. Okay. Like how we're going to get a Crystal Lake series. Is that still happening? I heard they were having a lot of problems with that series. And that was like an A24 series too. Like I kept hearing it was on again, off again, on again, off again. Whoever owns the rights to whatchamacallit, to the whole Friday the 13th stuff is so messed up. Screw Trap, spoil away. All right. I've got the official okay from Star-Lord, so I'm going to pop this up for any of you watching who don't want to get spoiled on the movie Trap. Then I ask that you mute or you come back later on, because I'll talk quickly about the main twists of this movie Trap. All right, I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time, baby. All right. So like I said, premise, concert setup, Trap, serial killer in the show, in the concert and all that stuff like that, right? So what happens throughout here, and I guess these are the moments that kind of led to some, thrilling aspects and some kind of the suspense is, how is Josh Hartnett going to get out of this situation? You have cops surrounding the building. It turns out that Lady Raven, as the pop star is called, played by Shyamalan, is in on all of this stuff. So she knows exactly what's happening, right? So, Josh Hartnett, he's going around, he's like looking, surveilling, trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this situation. But he makes it very well known, and they make it very clear that he is the guy. He is the main dude from the very beginning. Like, there's no kind of tippy-toeing around the whole thing. They make it known. Yes, like in the trailer, he watches a video, the live feed of this guy he has captive and all that while he's in the bathroom. But there are other things that they kind of show him doing, where in order to distract something, he pushes a poor drunk lady down a flight of stairs to kind of cause a distraction, which I thought was hilarious. I was laughing out loud the minute that happened. But you see him, like, every time he sees a situation of him possibly finding a way out, he's like, he talks to his daughter. He's like, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we kind of snuck in this way to see like how things are working behind the scenes? And the daughter's like, Dad, you're acting weird. Let's just watch the concert. Let's enjoy this stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know. I'm just, I just thought it'd be fun and all those things. And that's one of my problems about this movie. Like I said, a lot of people acted way over the top throughout the movie. Like, whenever he interacts with his daughter, he's like, oh my God, this looks like it's going to be great. And I'm not crazy, blah, blah, blah. All these kind of things like that. So it felt like kind of unrealistic. But you could tell that he definitely has a darker side. So what happens, and yes, M. Night Shyamalan is indeed again cast in this movie He plays, funny enough, the uncle of the pop singer. So he couldn't just say like, "Oh, I'm the dad." No, I'm the uncle of Lady Raven. So what happens here is that Josh Hartnett creates a story saying, "Hey, my girl is recovering from leukemia, and she was really having a great time at this show," and blah blah blah. Because Lady Raven, what she does in every concert is that she pulls someone on stage, very Taylor Swift like, to join her for a song. So because of that sob story, he's like, "Where are you guys seated?" And then they go over and say, "Hey, how would you like to go on stage with Lady Raven?" Blah blah blah, this and that. And this kind of creates the opening for Josh to kind of find a way to go out, right? So he does all that, and then he kind of sees like, "Oh, I have a way backstage," blah blah blah, all those things like that. But wait, no, there are cops guarding the back. What's going on, Gorilla Fantasy? Nice to see you here on the vertical stream. Does he guess how many jelly beans in a jar and win? Not quite. Not quite. But, you could see like all these things happening behind the scenes and all that. And the daughter's having a blast. She's having a good time. He's still trying to figure out how the hell to get out of this situation, right? So here's one of the first twists that happen. As they're backstage, he actually finds time to talk to Lady Raven one-on-one. And he's like, I'm really happy what you did for my daughter. She really had a good time. And she's like, "Oh, she's an angel, blah, blah, this and that." And he's like, "You know what? The funny thing about carbon monoxide is it wants to be poisonous to you." And he goes off in this weird tangent about, poison and all those things. And, Lady Raven is just like, "What?" And he's basically like, "Hey, look, I'm the guy you're looking for. I'm the guy that you guys all set up this elaborate trap for. And here's what we're going to do. See this guy? With a push of a button, I will release like carbon monoxide or something that will kill him instantly unless you get me out. So you're going to let me and my daughter ride in your limo, and we're going to be escorted out of here with you. And you could just drop us off around the corner where our car is parked. That's it. He'll live, and we'll be done with this, right?" And she's like, "Okay." So they sneak out, go in the little limo, and then this is, like I said, one of the first twists. "Hey, Riley," that's the name of the daughter. "Where do you live? Can I come over to your house?" And Josh is like, "What the fuck? What?" And she's like, "Oh my God, really?" Calls her mom. "Hey, Lady Raven wants to come visit our home, blah, 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 this and that." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And you can see Josh is like really perturbed about all this stuff, right? So now all of a sudden, Lady Raven is like being brave. Yeah, she's going to come up with some sort of scheme here. Goes to the house. They cook her dinner and all these things. She hangs out. And, they're asking like, "How is it like to be a performer?" And this and that. "Well, today was hard. Because have you heard of The Butcher? We did this concert in hopes that we were going to capture him because the FBI found one of his locations. And in this location was a torn up receipt that he bought 2 tickets to my concert. Which is kind of odd why he would attend a concert, because most of my audience are little girls like Riley, on all those things. So, I thought it was a good idea to kind of go forward with it in hopes to catch him. And they're like, "Oh my God, well, did you catch him?" I was like, "Not yet." And then you could see Josh Hartnett's like getting really upset. "Well, I think it's time for you to go. I think you'll outstage your welcome." And then she's like, "Wait a minute, you have a piano. Let me go play you a song." So she's still trying to buy time and this and that. So what is her main scheme that she does? Not only does she kind of steal Riley's phone, but then she steals Josh Hartnett's phone. Because Josh Hartnett is like videotaping them as, she's playing the piano and Riley's sitting next to her. And she just grabs the phone and say, "Hey, can we take a selfie?" And like, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom real quick." So she runs into the bathroom with his phone, and he's losing it. He's like, "Give me my phone back. Give me my phone back. Boom, boom, boom. Give me my phone back." And then she's like, oh my God. And she's like, "Are you still alive?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm still alive." And I'm like, "Okay, where are you?" "I don't know, but I remember I saw this statue and the door has a blue door." And he's like, "Okay, I'm going to try to get you out of there." Now she goes to her phone and she does like an Instagram live thing. And she's like, "Guys, I need your help. Uh, uh, Anyone living in the Philadelphia area, do you know any statue with like a broken lion and this and that? And then she's like waiting for all the chats to come through and all those things. Like, oh, I do. It's like, okay, to those of you who know, is there any blue door house near that location? It's like, that's right across the street from me. Can you call the cops and go over there? And this whole time you hear Josh Hartnett like bang on the bum bum bum, give me my phone back. And then you hear the wife kind of like screaming at him. It's like, what's going on? What's happening? And then when she's done with her Instagram live thing, then she finally screams outside the door. She's like, your dad's the butcher. Your husband's the butcher. Ah, blah, blah. And then he finally finds a key, opens the door, and he's like mad. He's like, oh, can I have my phone back now? And it's like, you messed up. Like, lady, you messed up. You're going to come with me. We're going to get out of here. And blah, 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 whatever, right? So it takes her in the car. As the garage door opens, now you would think, typical serial killer, right? As she screams out that I'm the butcher, then you would think, okay, maybe it's time to kill my family at this point, right? Because now they know the secret. Or lock them up somewhere. But no, what he did was like, he's like, go to your room and stay there. So of course, as the garage door opens, the family is standing right outside. And he's like, oh no, I was supposed to keep this separate. My family life and my serial killer life. And they're like, and then Lady Raven gets out of the car and she's like, you guys, you're all going to come with me. And the cops are on the way. And blah, blah, blah. All this stuff. So what does Josh Hartnett do? He closes the garage door. But before he does that, he makes sure to tell his wife, hey, the guy who's coming to repair the boiler is going to be coming on Thursday. And hey, son, don't forget you have that test coming up on Tuesday. Blah, blah. And he closes the door, right? Still the dad. Still a loving, caring dad. And what he does, because he has OCD, right? And they make sure that you are aware that he has OCD because he's always making sure things are clean and all that. He's cleaning up the house, cleaning up the broken glass and all those things. And then the FBI is like swarming around all these things. What's going on, Arnold? I hope you're doing well. I have to work tomorrow morning. I know you're working hard, but I hope you're still having a time to relax. So I wanted to say thank you for that. Gorilla Fantasy, oh my God, this sounds like a terrible movie. Gorilla was guessing that the twist is his daughter is the killer and he enables it. No. Like I said, this movie is very straightforward. What you see is actually what's happening. So there's no major twist that the daughter is the killer or the singer's the killer. No, Josh Hartnett's the killer. The main thing and premise of the movie is how is he going to escape or if they're going to catch him. That's like the main thing here, right? So FBI surround the house. And the reason why we also find out that why Josh Hartnett does what he does is because he has this thing about his mom and he needs approval from his mom. And at one point in the car, Lady Raven was trying to pretend to be like his mom. It's like, you're always a disappointment. You should always do what you're told. And I'm like, really? You're going to try the psychology stuff on him right now in the car? And like I said before, not a good actress. Doesn't feel believable whatsoever, right? So I'm just like, I'm laughing during this whole time. And he's like, I know what you're trying to do, mother, and you're not going to blah, 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 and all this stuff. So he sees like visions of his mom everywhere, right? And you can see he's fucked up in the head, right? And eventually, because the FBI is being led by this profiler, this like, she's been around the block for so many years and she could tell like what the actions of said serial killers and how they act and what they think of and how they move and what their steps are and blah, blah, blah. You know, kind of like a Dr. Loomis to like a Dr. Loomis in Halloween kind of, right? And, you know, she's like, oh, I know how he's going to do this and do that and blah, and all this stuff. So as this is happening, you see Lady Raven, you know, transporting the family to safety or whatever the case is. And they finally arrest this guy. So Josh Hartnett is leaving the house, handcuffs, and then for some reason the family comes back. Like, why did the family come back during all that? And then they let the daughter run up to him and hug him, right? And then because of his OCD, he has one last thing he has to do, right? There's a bicycle that's on the floor that he has to kind of pick up and make sure it's okay. And then he goes and follows them in the back of the truck as they kind of escort him out, right? And guess what? As he was picking up the bike, he took one of the spokes of the wheel and hid it in his sleeve so that he could pick his way out of the handcuffs, which he does. And he's like, ah, ha, ha, I did it. This is great. And that's how the movie ends. So, yeah, that's Trap. So I don't know what you would say if this is like really a trap or a stupid trap or whatever kind of trap. But that's basically how the movie ends, like that, right? But there's one chunk of the movie that I left out because I have to talk about this part too. Because again, this is something that doesn't make sense to me. Before they finally arrest him, he did find a way to leave the house at one point because there was like an entryway that he built that goes into the neighbor's yard. Gorilla Fantasy said, does he do the old carbon monoxide suicide and then wakes up in the morgue because he's actually been training like Wesley in The Princess Bride? That would have made the movie much more awesome, in my opinion. Gorilla also saying, shut up, no way, this didn't get greenlit. Susie Girl, what's going on? Nice to see you. Thank you for chiming in. Quickly, just go here. Here's a twist. M. Night is his own brother. Here's another twist. I'm the guy in the theater yawning, not at you at the movie. Loki is doing me a huge favor spoiling this twist. He's a sleeper agent. Very relatable because the audience is sleeping. They aren't arrest him. What's the sorcery? Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff. So right before the final thing that happens at the end, he finds a way to actually escape, right? And what he does the typical tropey thing where you have Lady Raven waiting in her limo, waiting to be driven away. And you hear like the limo driver speaking to like an FBI agent. It's like, hey, we want to make sure she gets in a secure location. We got it from here. And the limo driver's like, okay. And in comes the FBI driver and drives her away. You already know at this point, that's Josh Hartnett, right? Come on. We've seen enough movies. This is how it's going to happen, right? So, and this guy does not know how to drive. You live in Philly and you don't know not to go to certain places that are so busy. What does he do? He goes to a spot that's like really busy and he's stuck in traffic, right? And then of course, Lady Raven figures out that that's Josh Hartnett. And he's like, I'm very upset with you. You did something wrong. And I'm going to handcuff you to this thing. And you're going to come with me and blah, blah, blah. She finds a way to like, open the window where you see a bunch of fans looking. They're like, oh my God, it's Lady Raven. Is she okay? She's like, help me. And he's like, no, don't open the window, you stupid, crazy lady. And so you didn't think of like locking the windows at one point? This guy sucks. He doesn't know how to do anything, right? So because she has superhuman strength all of a sudden, she finds a way to like get herself free because the bar that held the handcuffs was able to break away and she slipped out and she was able to leave the limo. How the hell did that happen? Right? And everyone's around with their cell phones like, oh my God, Lady Raven, is she okay? And apparently they already called the cops. So the FBI showed up and they surround the limo. How did Josh Hartnett get out of the limo and blend into the crowd with their cell phones without anyone saying, hey, that's the limo driver? But he got out and they shot up the car and it's like, oh no, he's not in here. It's just a dummy with the helmet and all this paraphernalia. He fooled us. And Josh Hartnett's like walking away with a hoodie on and like kind of doing his thing. And that's how he ends up going back home, to set himself up for the final arrest at the end. This is where the other twist happens. There's a lot of twists in this movie, a lot of stupid twists. So, The wife is distraught. Again, how did they let them back there after all this happened in their own house is beyond me. But they brought her back for some reason. So she's like making some tea or whatever. Great cinematography during this moment, though. I will say that this movie had great cinematography. But she's making tea, and he shows up. He's sitting at the table with a butcher knife, right? Because he's the butcher, right? He chops people up. And, you know, he confronts her, and it's like, you know, I always wondered, you know, how they found out I was going to be at that concert. Blah, blah, blah. And then she goes off into this diatribe about, I didn't think you would end up like this, you know. So you followed me. I had my suspicions. I thought you were cheating on me, you know, but I followed you and you went into one of those houses. So yeah, but there was nothing there. I know, it's just a chair and a table, you know, but then I found this receipt and I was like, there's no way you could be that. So what did I do? I ripped up the receipt and I left it on the table and I called the FBI. And I said, I think the butcher lives here. And I found an interesting receipt. And that's how they found out where you were going to be and all that. Oh, you crazy lady. You ratted me out. I'm so angry at you right now. I'm so angry. So I'm going to kill you. Before you kill me, can we have a piece of pie? It's for Riley. And I want to make sure we eat the pie. Okay, we can eat the pie. Eat the pie, eat the pie. Uh-oh, what's this stuff? Wait a minute. How did you find my drugs? I got one of your bags. I found it in the car where you left it. I fell for the okie doke. Oh no, now I'm all drowsy and stuff. Oh, look, it's my mom. Hey, mom, leave me alone. And then he gets tased, and that's how the FBI arrested him. So the major twist here is 1, Lady Raven tries to be the hero. 2, he found his way to escape the limo. And 3, it was his wife that set him up from the beginning. The end. That is Trap. Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop. Gorilla Fantasy, I logged in for a bit of fun banter about movies, and instead what I got is frontal lobotomy. And scene. What the fuck? They set a trap for nothing. FBI sucks in this movie. Everyone sucked in this movie. Even he did. Character-wise. Acting-wise, I thought, like I said, Josh Hartnett did a great job with his performance with what he was given. You know, and again, it makes me, I want to see more of this guy. If given a role, a more deeper, darker role, you know, maybe from a different director, then I think this would have been something different. But this movie just felt hokey, very hokey. And it was just so unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So let's make it better. But yeah. But if after all that you still want to see Trap, I do recommend it. Because like I said, there are moments in it that are filled with suspense. And I kind of like watching where they go and how he's trying to figure out things and how he's trying to like weasel his way in and out of things. And plus, there is like a post-credit scene where, you know, after he finds his way out of the cuffs and he's like laughing, he's like, ah, ha, ha, I could escape. They fast forward to, and you've seen this guy in the trailer, the t-shirt sales guy that he has a conversation with, because there is a moment in the movie where they kind of interact. And I'm sorry, I should have left the spoiler thing on, where they kind of interact, and you know, he's kind of like, hey, your daughter's been looking for that size for this shirt. Let me get it for you. Come with me. So he kind of takes him to the back, and that's how Josh, you know, his character finds out more information about the secret code words of what the FBI uses, so that if he needs that, he can get around. That's how he also stole the ID, so he could go in and out of things. Right. So the post-credit scene is this guy watching the TV, and a news report comes up, And the news reports like they caught the butcher, and the butcher is local fireman, blah blah blah, this and that. He's like, oh, that's that guy. I thought he was my friend. I helped him. I helped him with some stuff. Oh my God, that's it. I'm never gonna be friends with nobody no more. I ain't gonna talk to nobody anymore. Shaniqua, yeah, you'll never believe what happened to me. Cut. Rest of credits. I'm like, were you trying to make a comedy at this point? Because that's what I kind of felt like. So, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know. But that is basically trap. Trap. Ba-da-bup, ba-da-bup, trap. If anything, this would be a fun watch just to see how silly it is. It is a silly movie. It really is. You know, but for what it's worth, I'm glad I saw it. Yeah, I'm glad I saw it. But it is a pretty silly movie. So with that being said, let's go into ranking. Let's go rank the M. Night Shyamalan movies. Let's have some fun with this ranking here. Let's see. I don't know why this is not working. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Well, anyway, we're going to be ranking the M. Night Shyamalan movies. So I was able to pull this up, this tier maker. And we won't spend a lot of time on this, but I thought it would be fun to kind of just go through these movies. And I would love to hear your thoughts on the ranking of your own personal feelings on M. Night Shyamalan's, his filmography and all that. All right, so first up on the list here, we have After Earth. I've never seen it, so I'm going to put it under haven't seen. But something tells me it will probably end up being F tier, right? You know what? Let's do it like this. All right, I'll just put in stuff I haven't seen yet. Wide Awake, I never saw. That's like I think that was like one of his like out of college movies. So was this. Praying with Anger, never seen that either. That I heard was a college film. So never seen any of those. So let's just get that out of the way. But let's go in order here. Sixth Sense. In my opinion, The Sixth Sense is an A. Because it was a fantastic movie. It's what brought him into the limelight, into the spotlight, into this movie zeitgeist, right? It made him who he was. It made him, I guess, really well known as the beginning of the twist, right? This is like the twist, the whole twist phenom. But it's a movie that you could never watch again. Because the twist ruins the movie for you, in a way. Because you get the big surprise, but every time you watch it, you already know what's happening. Now, it is interesting to watch it a second time because it does feel like you kind of see things in a different perspective as you watch the movie, right? Knowing that, spoiler alert, Bruce Willis has been dead this whole time, right? And he's just a ghost. So I will give it an A. Gorilla says B minus. T says S tier. So there you go. So there's various opinions about it. Next, we have, and I believe this was his second film, Unbreakable. For me, S. This was a very well done film. Very well acted. Very well directed. And it is, in essence, a superhero story, right? And it was one of those like movies that you weren't expecting it to be what it was when it turned out to be what it was. And it was a nice, pleasant surprise. And I thought it was very well done. And I think it is one of his best movies. And this is something that I could watch over and over and over again. And I still enjoy it, even though I already know what it's all about, right? According to Gorilla, it's a snooze fest, so it's a D. T says, I get that for replay value. Which one are you referring to, T? Let me know. But for me personally, I think Unbreakable is S level. Signs, I also think, in my opinion, this is S level. I think this is one of his underrated movies. It is. I love the whole play on aliens. I love the whole play on, you couldn't see what the threat was, and he did a very good job at hiding it. So it built on that whole suspense. I'll never forget my reaction when they first showed the alien walking across the screen on TV. I think it was in Brazil. He's like, Aki, Aki, blah, 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 at the birthday party. I reacted the same way Joaquin Phoenix acted. I was like, oh my God, really? You know? And I love the whole battle at the end where everyone went up to bat. No pun intended, right? And everyone had a story and a redemption, because this is like a family that went through so much pain and so much hurt, right? And so they kind of gave up who they were. But because of them coming together to fight this threat, everyone redeemed themselves. And now they kind of returned back to form and all that. So I love the whole storyline right after that. Next is Gorilla says science is an A, solid. Okay. We're closer in thinking about that. So that M. Night doesn't have any S tier out of principle. Okay. A for science, odd acting. The kids are a little strange. I will say that. But I think I just put it this way. These are like suburban farmers, right? So they don't really come across things like this often. So of course they would act the way they act. The Village. I think this is another underrated movie of his. So I would give this an A. I think Bryce Dallas Howard is great in this movie. Joaquin Phoenix is also great in this movie. Very tragic on this. Yeah, the twist at the end is kind of eye roll, right? You mean to tell me that they've been living out in just a forest this whole time and it's not really olden days or whatever like that? So yeah, I get it's kind of hokey, but I actually liked it. I like that we didn't know where this was going to end up. And I just love because she's blind, of course she's not going to know the difference as to what's really happening, right? So I love that. There are a lot of suspenseful moments in this. And I think this is one of his better directed films with the cinematography and the sound and the way he kind of like portrayed a lot of the framing. Very classic M. Night, in my opinion. So I think, this is one of his most underrated movies out of everything. Next we have, and I don't know if this is chronological or not, The Happening. No, Lady in the Water. Oh, I can't stand this movie. Now, I know some people think differently, but I honestly cannot stand this movie. This movie was god-awful. And like I said, when I was watching this in the theater, I remember the whole audience was just like, when is this movie going to end? Like, we were all dreading it, and we were all excruciatingly bored watching this. And it's so weird seeing the type of performance that Bryce Dallas Howard did in The Village and then into this role. I just wonder what this movie was trying to really do. I know it's kind of like a fairy tale, right? But it was so bizarre and it just didn't work for me. Now, I haven't seen it since that first time. I haven't seen it since. And I don't know if I want to see it again, but it was definitely one of those movies that I never wanted to go back to. Never wanted to go back to. And then after that, we have Last Airbender. Major F on that one. Oof. What happened? They gave him, they threw him a solid. They gave him a major IP franchise, and he botched it. And I know it pissed off a lot of fans. It was just really crazy how badly he did this movie. It is just so bad. So I would give it an F. Last Airbender is between F and haven't seen because I haven't ever seen something that fucking bad. T says F. Gorilla Fantasy, it sucked ass. I'm thinking Lady of the Water you're speaking about. The only problem with giving it an F is that there isn't a lower level of hell. The Last Airbender. Next is The Happening. I give this an F. The Happening, where nothing really happened. People were running away from the air. And I avoided watching this for a very long time until I finally said, you know what? I just have to check it out. I had to. Oh, my God. What a painful movie. Oh, man. What were they thinking? Unbelievable. What was he thinking? But yeah, that was just a tragic movie. Then we get The Visit. I have not seen The Visit. A lot of people has told me I should see The Visit. It's been on my list of things to watch. I just haven't had a chance to see it yet. So everyone in the chat who's seen The Visit, what would you rank this? Let me know. But I personally have not seen it. And I feel like this is around the time, and again, we're only going over movies that he's directed. This is around the time that a lot of people are saying that this is kind of like his resurgence, him coming back. Because he had kind of failure after failure with Lady in the Water, Last Airbender, Happening, After Earth. A lot of people are just like, oh, the era of M. Night is over at this point, right? So I'm curious what people thought of the Visit. He says C. I kind of get it. Okay. I'm just trying to see if anyone else will chime in on this one. Also, quick reminder, anyone watching live, don't forget, hit that like button. We greatly appreciate it. Oh, T, you haven't seen The Visit. Okay. Oh, I see. You would give The Happening a C because you kind of get it. Got it. Gorilla, I saw The Visit. It was okay. All right. So I guess maybe you would give it like, I don't know, a C maybe, right? It kind of sounds like that would be the case. But let's go into Split. Oh my God. First of all, and I give this an S tier, and I'll explain why. Without that big revelation at the end, I already thought this was a pretty amazing movie. James McAvoy, being able to portray all those different personalities, really showed you and proved to you how good of an actor he was. Amazing performance. Yet another nice performance of Anya Taylor-Joy, a very young and new Anya Taylor-Joy in this. It was so good. The premise and idea was amazing. I know Gorilla. Gorilla, out of principle, will never give an M. Night Shyamalan movie an S tier. But he gives Split an A. So that's good. But then when you saw the post-credit scene at the end, and you realized that this was part of the Unbreakable universe, it skyrocketed this movie for me. And it was interesting too, because I had a chance to see this movie at an early screening. James McAvoy was there. He was very cool dude. Very cool dude, I have to say. He made sure that he said hi to everybody, which is very cool dude. And when that revelation happened, I was like, oh my God, everyone in the theater was buzzing. And then as we're leaving, who was in the lobby? Bruce Willis. And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't see you before going into this screening, because that would have given everything away. But my God, what an amazing revelation that was. So brilliant and so smart. One of the best twists in any of the Shyamalan movies that I could still go back and watch. Again, anything S are movies I could rewatch over and over again, and I still get the same enjoyment there. Then we get Glass. Glass was good, but not S tier level. Glass was good. It was nice to kind of see the three kind of like head to head and all those things like that. It gets very wonky in certain parts and very strange. And you could also tell that, unfortunately, this is around the time that I think Bruce Willis, whatever he's suffering through now, may have already affected him then, because his acting was actually very poor. But I love the premise. I did like the idea. Actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. It wasn't great. It was decent. I still enjoyed it because of the universe that we were in. And we finally got like the showdown amongst all those people. But it was nothing compared to Split, really. Gorilla thinks Glass gets an F. Started saying some hits, some misses. It happens. Also started saying, I like some M. Night movies. Then we get to Old. I thought Old was a C. The minute I found out why people were kind of Getting old, huge eye roll. I gave it a huge eye roll. I was just like, really? Oh God, get out of here. Like I thought it was really ridiculous. A lot of people liked it. I didn't like it so much. It was okay. It was okay. So I give it a C if I were to like rate it amongst his filmography. Guerrilla Fantasy Cinematic Universe automatically prevent you from getting anything above a C. Well, I think if done right, it deserves a higher rating. But you know, I'm operating on a different tier level than you are, Guerrilla Fantasy. So I guess in a way, if we remove the S tier, then we're closer in alignment, I guess, in a way. Then we get Knock at the Cabin, and I actually really enjoyed this movie. So I would give this a B. I like the whole premise on the whole apocalypse, kind of biblical meanings behind a lot of the things that are happening here. I thought the acting was very well done. I thought Dave Bautista was great in this. I love the little girl, the little Asian girl. I thought she was really good. I love the two fathers and how they acted. I love putting your faith to the test. And I love the whole premise of they suffered so much because of their identity and how they identify sexually and all that. And it's like, why should we save the human race if the human race has given us nothing but grief and blah, 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 this and that. And it was a leap of faith that kind of like was the correct decision at the end of the day, right? Yeah, but it also, you ask yourself, was this really happening around them? You know, is this really truly happening? And then you get to see like, oh yeah, everything that was happening around them was really, really happening. So I liked the story here. I love how he was directing all of this. So I gave it a B for this one. And then we have Trap. And I'll give this a C. Or I would probably give this like a B. It would be in between a B and a C. So what I'll do is I'll put it in C, but before Old. And the only reason why I give it that little push is, again, Josh Hartnett's acting. I think Josh Hartnett acted really well in this movie. With what he was given, I think he acted really extremely well. It's just unfortunate it was stuck in a movie that was very mediocre. You know, so I would give it a C. This is a kind of movie I would love watching. I would love to watch with friends so that we could laugh and joke about it. So this is kind of like a bad movie night option for me. But I would give it a C overall. So there we go. So that's my tier ranking of the M. Night Shyamalan movies. I think I got them all, everything that he's directed. So just to recap, S level for me personally, Unbreakable, Signs, and Split. Then we have A, Sixth Sense, and The Village. B, we have Glass, Knock at the Cabin. C, Trap, and Old. No one gets a D. All the Fs, Lady in the Water, Last Airbender, The Happening, and these are the movies I haven't seen yet. There. I do plan on watching The Visit sometime soon, so I'm sure my tier ranking will change once I do that. As for the other three, I am curious to see how his earlier stuff is, like Praying with Anger and Wide Awake would be. After Earth, I have no desire in watching that because I'm not all about nepotism. And I just don't think Jaden and Will Smith should be in a movie together. So there you go. There's my thoughts on all of that. Gorilla Fantasy said Knock B is a good assessment. Bautista is inherently watchable. He has no business being an actor, yet you can't dislike him. I agree. I think out of all the modern day wrestlers that made a transition from wrestling to acting, he's probably one of the best stuff. He's probably one of the best. Like, he can do drama, he can do action, he can do comedy. John Cena's also showing his diversity too, so I think he falls under Bautista. And, you know, The Rock is The Rock. He's machismo and cheese, right? He's very good at that stuff. So, but Bautista, I think, is the one who probably is the best actor out of them all. Gorilla thinks his early stuff is extremely pretentious. I remember one time, I think this was like a bonus feature in either The Sixth Sense or Signs, where they showed he had one of his home movies. And yeah, you could kind of tell he is very into himself in his like, oh, this was like he was a kid at this time. I think maybe high school. And he was doing like a home movie that he was doing. And of course he starred in it all the time. He stars in all of his stuff. And I did get that sense that he felt a little bit full of himself in a way. So It's very interesting. Keep my son's name out of my fucking movie. So I was saying, in Glass, I didn't like the lady that treats people like they're crazy, but actually knew this shit's real. It was annoying. Oh yeah, that was played by what's her face? Paulson, right? Sarah Paulson. Great actress, but I don't think she was good in that role. He says the best. Are you saying Bautista's the best? Sorry, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, nothing crazy. All right. So there you go. So that's my ranking, my tier list, and all those things. Hope you enjoyed that M. Night Shyamalan discussion. Let me know if you're still planning on watching Trap after everything I said. I'll still say this. Trap is probably a better movie to watch when it's on streaming. You don't necessarily have to go to the theater for this. If you just want like a hokey time watching a movie. But if you rather spend your time better elsewhere, then yeah, definitely don't. I won't recommend it. Girl of Fantasy says, no way in hell you can get me to watch this movie. All right, guys. So I was saying I was never planning on watching Trap because it's a trap. Like I said, I think the major trap that happened in this movie is the trap of nepotism that M. Night Shyamalan fell into. Oh, yes, I said it. All right, y'all. Unfortunately, I have to cut the stream a little short today because I do have to do some things afterwards. Girl of Fantasy says, you mean crap? Or frap, if you're into frappuccinos. Or why don't you look at this map instead? Which he did look at one point throughout the movie. He was looking at a map of the layout of the venue, which I thought was kind of funny. FBI might arrest me at the theater for killing myself. Oh, no. Don't say that. That's not nice. But you might end up doing that if you do watch this movie. I don't know. That's just me. But I do have to leave. I do have to bid all of you adieu. I do apologize for cutting the stream short. But always a pleasure having this great conversation with all of you. Always appreciate everyone here showing up. T, thank you again for the gifted memberships. I really, really appreciate it. And a huge shout out again to Starlord as always. Scorched from earlier. Gorilla Fantasy, always a pleasure having you here on the streams. I hope to see you again soon. Tiny G, I wish you luck with your Pokemon. I hope you are going to recover what you need to recover. Level 17 was great to see a newcomer to the stream. So had great conversations with him or them. I don't know who they are. But I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. I will be back again on Monday when we go over the latest weekend box office breakdown. And I'll give you my full-on review of, Batman Caped Crusader. And the last episode of House of the Dragon that is going to come out this Sunday. So if you want to hear thoughts on that and have a conversation on all those things, then definitely tune in again Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Starlight, you didn't have to remove it. I was just teasing you. I was just playing with you. I'm just playing around, just being silly, as we all are here on the streams. But I wish you all a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Play the music. And you know the drill. Stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. I will catch all of you next time. Peace out. Peace and love. Don't get trapped over the weekend. All right, y'all.